Hello everybody, and welcome to iReadit, bringing you your daily dose of the internet for Wednesday, October 18th, 2017. I am Michael Schwan.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
Please remember, everyone, you can help support our show by going to patreon.com/dailyinternet. In addition, we do go live Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Alaska time on both Facebook Live as well as YouTube Live. Nathan, how are you doing today?
I'm fucking dead tired. I was up all last night because I didn't have to work today, so I did, like, nothing but play games over at Bobby's. We played some pretty fun fucking co-op games. I forget the name of it, but it has love in the title and it has spaceships. And then we also watched a movie called Life, and Life is a pretty damn good horror movie.
Bobby Slater?
Yeah.
Right on. That's cool. I didn't stay up very late. I woke up this morning and we took the kid to school, and then we went and got some food, and then we went to Jennifer had an eye appointment, and we go to the same optometrist, and I was like, hey, can I go ahead and schedule an appointment? They're like, we actually have an appointment open right after hers because someone canceled. If you want to just take that one. I was like, oh my, yes, I do.
Taken.
Yeah.
Just there.
And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then we got some lunch, and we cut my hair, and then I played a little bit of video games, and today's been a pretty good day.
Yeah, it's nice, you know. It's always good to have a day off.
Yeah, I started playing Divinity Original Sin 2. That game's pretty great. Seems like so far everything is a vast improvement on the first. The only thing that bugs me is that it has really good voice acting, especially for the origin characters. The only problem is they offer multiple dialogue options, and in the times where there's multiple dialogue options, your character doesn't talk.
I just bought 2 games for $350.
Oh yeah?
It was a game called Imprisoned Light and another game called Mechagore, and both of them are pretty bad.
Well, enjoy your bad games, sir.
I love them.
You gonna try to be one of those YouTubers that has a fan base because you play bad games?
That would be fun. Actually, I had that planned, but for a group of 4 people. So I mean,
I wish you luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Shall we talk about some news though?
Yeah, I guess so.
10. Mississippi school named for Confederate leader to be renamed after Obama.
Ooh, this was submitted by occasional Redditor to our politics.
Yep, so this is Jefferson Davis School that is in Mississippi. It is going to be renamed to honor former President Obama.
That is amazing.
Yep, the name.
I love that.
In a statement from the school, the name change is meant to reflect a person who fully represents the ideals and public stances consistent with what we want our children to believe about themselves.
Good. That's some fucking great stuff right there. I feel like there should be more schools that are taking this initiative as well.
Maybe not necessarily naming it after Obama. He's a great choice. But if your school's name or it doesn't need to be a school. If your organization, your daycare, whatever, is named after someone who isn't positive in history, I don't think that's necessary. Man, my shirt is crazy with my camera. The camera just barely can't pick up the stripes on it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. It looks,
yeah, I guess so.
It looks friggin' weird.
Yeah, you got me there. That is pretty fucking weird.
So, either way, this is a positive change. It doesn't actually affect much besides just making the statement about we are not going to immortalize and honor negative people in the past. Even if they did positive things in terms of what they're written for in history books, doesn't make them good people.
Yeah, by all means. Like Columbus, for instance, awful individual.
He actually didn't do anything good.
Yeah, not one thing good.
Yeah, he was just bad.
Nothing but fucking bad.
9. Olympic gymnast McKayla Maroney says team doctor repeatedly molested her.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
This was submitted by Tragic Donut to R2X chromosomes. Blah.
If you need a reminder of who McKayla Maroney is, she was one of the youngest gymnasts that ever participated. She was a gold medalist in terms of the team event, got a silver on her own. She immediately became a meme from that event in London because she was the one that she was the gymnast that was the what was the name of the meme? The not impressed.
I don't know.
McKayla
I don't know the meme.
Maroney meme. I forget which one it was called. Yeah, not impressed. And it's the one where she's got like the like lips to the side.
Okay.
God damn it, Nathan! Don't be ruining shit. I'll just drop.
I don't know the meme.
Can I put? Am I not allowed to drop pictures into the live chat?
I don't know.
Apparently.
Are you allowed to drop pictures into the live chat?
I'm trying, but it's not letting me because I was just going to drop the meme directly into into the live chat, but it's not working. So instead, I'll throw it up on the screen grab real quick. In any case, so she had been participating in. There it goes. In gymnastics since she was 13. She got out after 7 years after she did complete her gymnastic journey, her Olympic journey, her Olympic goal. She saw the Olympics.
Oh, I've seen this meme.
Yeah, first when she was 8, managed to make it there, got into there, medaled, and then after that she retired from the Olympics, especially because being a Olympian athlete is extremely taxing on the body. But with the recent U2 movement, she has come out with her own story about how the USA team doctor molested her repeatedly. And it was a thing that apparently was rather well known about by a large number of people, considering that this individual is currently under trial and is being sued by over 100 women for sexual molestation charges and has pled guilty to child pornography charges.
What the fuck, dude? Why does this person exist?
Well, I mean, they're going to disappear for a very long time, so if depending on your definition of exist, they may not anymore.
I'm that's really fucking crazy.
Yep.
But, I mean, a lot of women are coming out and speaking now, and that's really, really good. I'm really happy.
Well, what's even more messed up in this case is how it was repeatedly referred to as medical treatment. That after practice or before getting ready for a competition, he would need to treat the girls.
Yeah, that's not okay whatsoever. That is not something that exists, really. Okay, so I guess it exists, but it's a shame that it exists. That's really fucked up. Yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of this individual.
And in regards to this isn't a exactly correlated story, although it does have a connection. I put it on here because I felt it was important to make this connection. And what it is, a Redditor uses an analogy to explain why many women don't like being hit on in public.
Yes, and this was submitted by Internet Week Guide to our best of.
And so the best way, if you don't understand, is, and for the most part, this is going to be to people that have never had to go through this experience, majority of which will most likely be men. I'm sure there are women that haven't had this experience as well. But basically, if you need to try and get a way to understand what they go through, is for the majority of us, and I know that for some of this analogy won't work depending on where you're located, imagine how annoying it is, or, just awkward it is when someone on the street asks you for money. Okay?
Yeah, that is pretty annoying. It's
awkward. It's uncomfortable. It's annoying. My phone is on loud. It's not something that you super like, right? Mm-hmm. And, for the most part, when it, like this, small little person coming up like, hey, you got any extra money on you, man? You just, the first thing you think of is, like figure out a way to get away from them, an excuse. And you're like, oh, sorry, man, I don't carry cash. I don't have any cash. That way you can get away from them. Now, imagine that every single time, for the most part anyway, exceptions are always a thing, that when someone came up to ask you for money, they were significantly bigger and stronger than you, and it might be a little bit more forceful. They didn't just go, oh, okay, and walked off. No, they were not embarrassing. That's not the word I'm looking for. They were not necessarily overpowering on you in some cases, maybe, but they were pushy. They were forceful. And this person that is now asking you for something is legitimately someone who could not give you an option in that. And in some cases, they don't. People that will grab your wallet to see whether there's actually cash or not in it, or full-on beat you and take any money that you have and rob you. Now, imagine that Imagine that situation, this awkward-ass situation of someone coming to ask you for money, but now turn that person that's asking you for money into someone bigger and stronger than you that could overwhelm you and take your money, except instead of money, it is your body.
Yeah.
And that is what it is. That's the problem. That is why it is something that is difficult to understand for a good majority of people about how the experience is for women of, like, when a man approaches them, or I don't know, maybe another woman or whoever else, the world's a very interesting place today, and, you know, propositions them, it's that awkward, like, I don't really want to have this conversation. I just want to get out of the store and go home. I got shit to do. Sorry, I don't have any cash on me. And, you know, sometimes, you know, dude will walk up and be like, hey, can I have your number? And you're just like, no, go away. And they're like, oh, okay. But sometimes they're not. Sometimes when they ask you for your number or ask you for a date, they don't just say okay when you say no and walk away, because there are situations when they have been overwhelmingly aggressive and have done things that are despicable, and those are things that you are aware of when you are someone that can happen to. For me,
it becomes ultra. You become ultra aware to it.
Well, yeah, and you put those scenarios as a possibility every time it happens. For me,
to the point where you're not even conscious when you're thinking about it anymore. It's just a subconscious thing.
No, you automatically become defensive. Whereas, like, for me, when someone walks up and asks for me for money, I don't give a shit. I'm just like, no, go the fuck away. I don't have any cash. Go back to your hole. I'm not that rude, but you know that's my mental process. I don't think that they're a danger to me because I can take care of myself. But there are situations where even me, I wouldn't be able to take care of myself. But in that analogy, sure, yeah, I totally could. But if I was a smaller and a weaker person, I did not have the muscle that I do, I would not have that option.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that men really do live in a different world than women.
Oh, we do. We totally do.
Completely different.
Like,
so I don't.
Yeah, it is completely different in basically every way.
It's much more terrifying to be a woman.
No, it's not even just terrifying. It's just a lot rougher existence considering the things that your body puts you through.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, not just the people around you, but your body itself as well.
Yeah. So, if you need an analogy to comprehend what they're going through and why this is a piece that is connected to the Me Too campaign, hopefully that gave you a little bit of insight. I realize we harped on that for just a couple minutes, probably too many, but it is important. But we will move on at this juncture.
8.
Trump to widow of Sergeant La Davidson Johnson. Sorry, I had a error in my chest.
Oh, okay.
Quote: he knew what he signed up for.
Ooh, this is submitted by Say Queensbridge to Our Politics.
Now, people have already spread that quote. But the problem is, and it's really easy to do with Trump, is that quote is taken out of context. Okay?
Is it misleading?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. I mean, Trump, I often feel like, says the wrong thing when he's trying to say something else. Here's the full quote of what Trump said. He said, he knew what he signed up for, but when it happens, it hurts anyway. That statement is much different than just saying he knew what he signed up for.
That is true.
But people are just taking the first half of that sentence because they want to slam Trump. And don't get me wrong, I love slamming Trump. But don't slam Trump for the wrong reasons. You don't need to build something to slam him on. He gives you plenty of ammunition.
Yeah, no, he definitely does.
So,
because he's kind of a fucking moron.
Yeah, you don't need to take this out of context in order to give yourself more bullets. Don't worry, he's dumped an entire crate at your feet. Now, U.S. Army Sergeant La Davidson Johnson, he was one of the 4 Green Berets that were killed in Niger of the terrorist attack that was the terrorist ambush that happened there. We've talked about it previously. It's also a lot of the discussion around Trump, calling those families and stuff like that. This is one of the families he has called. We'll be talking about the other ones later. But in this case, don't take this out of context. I mean, it's still not a great statement, but with the full context of it, it's also not that bad either.
Yeah, context really is everything, and when you're only cutting part of his sentence off, especially with that sentence, like, it's not as bad as people make it out to be.
Yeah, and basically what it equates to, instead of, I feel like a lot of what Trump says, if he would have just said it a little bit differently, it wouldn't be a blow against him at all. Instead of saying he knew what he signed up for, say something like, it is a risk that all service members take when they sign up for the military. It is unfortunate that that risk sometimes comes into reality, but even when it does, and we know that there's a chance of it happening, it doesn't make the blow any less severe. Same exact thing as what he said. Sounds a lot better.
Yeah, he's really bad at wording.
He's really bad at wording. He's in a lot of ways. I mean, I think what it is, he tries to speak more simply, not necessarily because he's simple, but because he wants it to be very clear what he's trying to say.
You heard it here, folks. He's simple.
I did not say that.
You just said it.
I said not because he is simple.
But he is.
You said that. In any case, so, I mean, and people are, like, kind of up in arms about it, because he already had, this particular soldier and his wife, they had 2 children. She's pregnant with the 3rd. There's been pictures being passed around in regards to, like, the wife crying over the coffin of the fallen soldier. So, I mean, I don't want to take away that pain by purely talking about what Trump said, especially when what Trump said is not really a big deal when you have the complete context of it.
In this case.
Now, people don't necessarily care about context and have already responded in a positive way, though. I mean, some people are slamming Trump, but people found a more positive way to respond. Americans have raised over $200,000 overnight for the children of the grieving Army widow Trump insulted.
That's amazing. That was also submitted by Simulation Me to Our Politics.
The original goal was $100,000 on GoFundMe. They broke that overnight in just 12 hours.
Doubled it. Fuck.
They have already exceeded the goal to $1 million, and it is well on its way to actually hitting that. The majority of these funds are going to be going towards the children's college.
That's amazing. That's absolutely fucking amazing.
Now, that said, they have broken $500,000. They are currently at $515,424. Even good college doesn't hit that number unless they're going to go to very long programs for, like, medical and things like that. So hopefully the additional funds will just go towards supporting the family.
And just, living.
Mm-hmm.
It'll help. In any way, really.
Yep. So good on people for doing what they can to help these people.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't forget that Puerto Rico still needs help.
7.
A Chicago police officer could have arrested a teen who kept sneaking into a gym. Instead, he bought him a membership.
This is submitted by Nix at Down to Our Uplifting News.
Yep. So this
is really nice of him.
So this teenager was about 15 years old. He had a membership to the gym, but his mother couldn't afford to continue to pay it anymore, and so it expired. But his friends still had memberships and would go in there to play basketball. So he would sneak in or sometimes just walk right past the desk so that he could still play basketball with his friends. Now, the manager of the gym was like, I don't want to be that guy, but I have to be that guy because it's a business, which I totally understand and back the business owner on. So he called the police, was like, hey, this keeps on happening. Is there anything you guys can do? The police came by, saw him do it again. And then the police officer talked to the kid about it, and he goes, okay, how much? The police officer asked the manager, how much would $150 buy the kid in terms of membership? He goes, I don't know, like 4 months. Just looking at the amount right now. And he said, okay, I'll pay that. And then the manager was like, you're going to pay for him to get 4 months? Hang on. And he called his corporate office, and he talked to a corporate office. Corporate office said, cool, if the officer will pay that $150, we'll give the kid 2 years.
That's amazing.
So a member
giving him 2 year.
Yep, a membership, a joint contribution from both the police officer and the company itself are giving this kid a free a free 2-year membership to the gym so that he can still come in, play basketball with his friends, especially because he has no criminal record whatsoever. He's not gotten into any trouble or anything like that, and going to the gym.
Just wants to play basketball with his friends.
Well, and that also probably helps keep him out of trouble.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
it keeps him away from the streets because he's too busy balling up, know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's really awesome. And originally the police officer didn't think anything of it. He said he doesn't do this very often, but it was a unique case and he was just going to do it. But the manager of the corporate building, not of the corporate building, of the gym, is the ones who brought it to the news to actually have it made into a story. And the officer wasn't really interested in having it publicized.
Really?
Not really. He's like, I don't need this to be a public matter. He's like, I mean, you've already made it public, so I'll, have this conversation anyway, but I just wanted to do something nice for a kid that was a good kid.
That's awesome.
He's like,
he didn't want to even be famous in the first place.
Yeah, he doesn't feel like it should be a big deal. He's like, nobody should make a big deal out of police officers doing good things because that's what they're supposed to do.
Oh, definitely. And this guy fucking did it.
So, good on.
Definitely good on you, dude.
And that probably is going to make a huge difference in that kid's life, even if all it does is keep him out of trouble.
Yeah. You're amazing, and we need more people like you.
6.
Spicer interviewed by Mueller's team.
Whoa, this was submitted by Mini-Me89 to Our Politics.
Yep, Sean Spicer sat down with special counsel Robert Mueller for the FBI Russian investigation on Monday for an interview that apparently lasted about the entire day. But we don't really have much information of what was really discussed. I mean, the people that have commented on it said that that they discussed the firing of former FBI James Comey, statements regarding the firing, Trump's meeting with Russian officials, including Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, and one person, and so we haven't actually had any specific details about what was talked about. Spicer has declined to comment. Mueller's team hasn't given a comment. No one's actually said anything directly of, this is what we asked, this was the answer, just that this interview occurred.
I hope some positive things come from it, in the least.
We'll see.
Maybe a couple more answers.
I mean, it might not so much as give answers, so much as give direction.
It's still, a thing. That's a direction in any way. Okay, I guess backwards is not a good way.
And
I don't know. I hope it gives us a positive direction, I guess.
Just for the sake of clarification, because I feel like too many people put this investigation in the wrong direction. They are not investigating Trump. Trump is part of it, but what they're investigating is Russia's interaction and interference with the American election.
Which, I mean,
that is the focus. If there is involvement with the Trump campaign, they become part of it, but they are not the focus.
And, I mean, shit, they totally, were messing with the...
Well, so far, in terms of Trump's campaign's actual involvement, it looks like they had a few talks, but nothing beyond that, and, the few talks weren't incredibly direct either. So
for now,
I mean, if something else comes up, something else comes up.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
5.
President Donald Trump took credit for the fact that ISIS is in retreat during an interview.
This was submitted by I Love Lamp 9 to Our World News. I fucking butthole.
I also love Lamp.
I love Lamp.
Yeah, so ISIS has lost its capital. They had Raqqa, and Raqqa fell. They also had Mosul. Mosul fell. They have been taken back, and those places are starting to rebuild themselves, thankfully. But now the thing is, though, is that these are major, major victories over ISIS. Mosul fell back in July. Raqqa just fell over this last weekend. We have pushed ISIS out of their two largest strongholds. Now, when I say we, I do not mean U.S. forces. We are not the ones that are necessarily fighting this battle anymore. Instead, we are providing guidance, ammunition, weapons, vehicles to the forces that are there that are taking back their own homes. We are not necessarily the ones that are going through and clearing it out anymore. Now, that said, this is our backing. We are the ones that are fueling this and giving them the equipment they need. However, after the reclamation of Raqqa, President Donald Trump took credit for it, saying that, none of this happened because before you didn't have Trump as your president.
I would like to say bullshit.
Well, and other people have already talked about that because it's these initial deals, these initial pushes, the strategy and everything, the implementation of these actions were implemented before you even got into office. This is the result of decisions made more than a year ago, so you can't take credit for these. And Trump also is touting that he changed the rules of engagement. And what he means by that is one of the largest criticisms of the Obama administration when it came to the military was that he micromanaged it in a lot of ways. He did not give a lot of decision-making authority to anyone in the Pentagon, to any of the generals, to any of the leaders in the military branches.
He really wanted to do it himself.
He wanted to approve all of it. Whereas Trump, on the other hand, has given a pretty free pass of, you guys are the military guys, you make your decisions, I already said it's okay. You guys have the authority. So with
Just fucking do it, get off my back.
kind of, yeah. In which, I mean, I'm not going to say one way is right or wrong, because you can't really say one is better than the other. Both have their benefits and their detriments.
Mm-hmm. Their merits.
Right. I mean, with Obama's, you get a lot more control and monitoring over what's happened. With Trump's way of doing it, those people are in their positions because they have the time, the experience, and all of that thing put in to be in those positions. And it means that they don't have to go through the process of getting approval for actions, which means things can happen much quicker. Especially with how slow government works. I mean, the military is not a whole lot faster in any way, but if you don't need approval from an entire separate everything, especially when those places can take months to sign a piece of paper, it does help the process along. Now, that said, I imagine Trump will be unhappy when those officials do something that he doesn't like, and they say, well, you said we didn't need your approval.
Yeah, and that's been happening more and more with things that he's been signing off on. Not just,
right.
Things that other people have decided to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, shit. I mean, at least with things that other people decide to do, he can fire them, cover his ass.
Well, if you start firing too many people, then you start getting questions asked.
I'm pretty sure questions are already starting to be asked.
You get new questions asked, and they start being asked a lot more loudly.
Keep doing it, man. Keep doing it.
4.
Fungus destroyed inmate's brain while Kansas prison contractor did nothing. Did you break everything?
My headphones got yanked out of the thing.
Well, who was number 4 submitted by?
It was submitted by some fucking name to our news.
What is that? RB Hindepno?
RB Hindepmo.
Sure, either way. So this is a lawsuit pertaining to Marcus Davis, who was in the infirmary at Hutchinson Correctional Facility. So what happened is that he was in prison for a lot of things. Like, this dude was in prison for doing a lot of bad stuff, including, like, attempted murder. Now, however, this is not talking about why he was in prison in so much as what happened to him while he was in prison. Because those are, in my opinion, also very different things. Especially when it comes to not what inmates do to one another, but how we are treating our inmates. Because that's...
like slaves?
Like slaves, or like people that don't deserve proper medical treatment, which is what happened here. So he had been going to the infirmary several times, reporting dizziness, headaches, numbness in his legs, and the doctors had been saying, oh, it's nothing, he's probably just faking illness and all these different things, and then later it continued to get worse and worse to the point that he was completely delusional. He couldn't get out of bed because he was so delusional. He was drinking his own urine.
Pass.
Yeah, hard pass. Well, then once he finally died, because if someone dies while in prison, and it's not something obvious of like, oh, he got shivved in the ass by another inmate. They have to do an investigation, an autopsy into it, and a CT scan revealed that he had dramatic swelling in the brain that was actually forcing the upper part of his brain down into the lower part of his brain, and he was declared brain dead, taken off life support, and he had an advanced granulomatosis meningophyllositis, which is literally
we need fucking Tim.
Yep, because I know I pronounced that wrong. Either way, he basically had extreme meningitis.
That's fucking ow, dude.
And
that's not a way you want to die.
A very, very simple intravenous treatment of antifungal called amphotericin B would have completely saved his life. But because the doctors literally 40 times said he was faking illness, he received no treatment until it was too late. And that's what this lawsuit is regarding. It alleges that Corazon, the people that are responsible for inmate care in several states, reported multiple times that they thought he was faking illness, and that they didn't provide him proper medical care that he should have received.
Well, they didn't. Like, he absolutely needed medical care. 40 times. 40 times.
Well, and in this particular case, I mean, Corazon, this is not even the most recent time that Corazon has gotten in trouble. Corazon has been getting in lots and lots and lots of trouble recently, especially because they have continuously had things like this happen. They have lost their contracts with the entire state of Kansas, the entire state of Tennessee. The reason behind this is because, like, one, they're getting more expensive with worse care. In Tennessee, they didn't want to renew it and they even took a more expensive deal because of things that have been happening.
Because they're buttholes.
Pennsylvania, Maine, Maryland, Minnesota, and New Mexico has also dropped. New York City didn't want to renew Corazon's Riker Island contract because in the last 6 years, they have had 15 medical deaths.
Fuck.
And people are like, why is this happening? Is it because they don't care? Because they don't want to treat people? Seems to morally be based around the cost, about how this company makes money. So how it works is that Corazon says, you have this many inmates, so for us to provide medical treatment, you need to pay us this flat rate. So for the sake of it, we'll say $250 an inmate. It's more than that, but we'll say, $250 an inmate, so your flat fee is going to be, $5,000. Then, so any money that is not spent on medical care for the inmates is just kept by the company. So the less they provide, the more money they get.
So it is slavery.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's fucked up. I am definitely not fucking happy about this.
Brett says that shit happens a lot outside of prison, too. The difference is outside of prison, if you go to a doctor, he's like, oh, you're fine, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You can just go to another doctor. Mm-hmm. Inmates don't really have an option. Like, they have their one person they have to go to.
Guy.
And if that one person says, quit bitching, leave, you're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's what happened, and this guy was screwed. He fucking died.
Yep. Josh says, nice haircut. You look great. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate you.
Have to say that out loud.
I already did. I wanted to say it. I can say what I want for the most part.
Yeah, that's fair.
So this entire thing is just one big feel bad.
It is. It's people should trust inmates, I guess, to a point, because there are inmates that will take advantage of situations like this. But this is an inmate that needed help and didn't get it.
Well, and if someone is like, oh, I have a pretty bad headache, I don't feel good, my legs are a little numb. It's like, oh, maybe give them some, fucking acetaminophen, say you probably have a pretty bad cold, and go lay down. Mm-hmm. Like, those aren't immediately things that I'd be like, oh, something bad sounds like it's happening. It's like, I mean, you have a shitty bed, so it means your back's probably getting a little bit out of line, which means your legs are numb and you might just be sick, or whatever. But beyond that, when someone is so delusional they cannot eat, cannot get out of bed, and are so out of their mind because of what's happening in their head that they are drinking their own urine, that is beyond someone who is just crazy. That is at a point where you need to immediately get them treatment.
Oh, easily.
And there were signs well before then that something was wrong.
Bear Grylls, we're looking at you.
Yeah, Bear Grylls. God, you gross fuck. You and your hack of a show that's a bunch of fake shit.
It is. It's absolutely fake. And if you're going to watch anyone on TV, watch Les Stroud.
Is that Survivor Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's much better.
Although, like, damn, his job sucks. Like,
yeah.
The whole survival aspect, it's like, all right, well, I'm glad you know what you're doing. But I watched a behind the scenes about that, and he's like, man, there are sometimes that it's really rough because to get a shot, I have to set up a camera, walk into the distance, and then walk back to get the camera.
Yep.
Just so we can have the shot of me walking away.
He's as much of a fucking artist as he is a goddamn literal survivor.
Mm-hmm.
3.
Fallen soldiers' families say they never heard from Trump.
Ooh, this was submitted by Tricky D. Trump to Our Politics.
Now, this is a story that had a lot of attention, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, because there were 4 Green Berets that fell in that ambush in Nazir. This is that 2 of the families have not heard from Trump yet. Now,
what about the other 2?
The other two have. We talked about one earlier regarding.
That's true. We did.
Regarding, he knew what he was getting into. I really feel like this is really just how this kind of comes across to me. The conversation that we just had earlier in the show was about a phone call that happened on Monday. I don't want to just be like, oh, he's ignoring them. Maybe he's not doing a great job, but I feel like none of this would have been a story at all if it wouldn't have been for his comment regarding other presidents not making phone calls.
Well, no shit. People are going to point out the hypocrisies that he has, constantly. Anything he fucking says, people want to point out the hypocrisy.
It just feels so unnecessary.
It is, because you have it's all on Twitter. Everything he says, had said a counterpoint to it at some point.
What is that? Trump criticizes Trump? Is that the subreddit?
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely, it's a thing.
So, I don't believe that he won't contact these families. I truly believe that it is a yet that he is going to, but he just hasn't at this time.
Which, it's been a while. You should probably sit down this weekend, make a couple phone calls in between rounds, even if you're just, going to golf like you normally do.
Well, I don't know how long these phone calls last, or under what circumstances they have to be set up, or anything like that. So,
I would hope they get at least several fucking, a 30-minute block talk with this goddamn president,
if they want to, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I don't know enough of the details. Also, thankfully, we haven't had massive losses of life recently. I could not, in terms of World War I and World War II, the president could not make those phone calls because of how many lives were lost.
Too many.
So, while it's nice in this whole idea of him calling, the 4 families or the ones that are lost here and there, I'm not sure also how relatively necessary it is either. I appreciate the gesture, but also under other circumstances, it wouldn't be feasible.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like with just 4 people, you should be able to do it.
Sure, but I also don't feel like, if you call one on Monday, the other one on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, people are like, you haven't called the other 2 yet. It's like, bitch, just calm the hell down.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Now, if we get to, I don't know, another couple weeks from now, because I'll legitimately give him, a month. I'm willing to give him, a month. Now,
I'm not giving him a month. I'm giving him 2 weeks.
Sure.
2 weeks to make 4 phone calls.
Either way, at the same time, he's apparently talked to 2 of them. Give him a little bit more to talk to the other 2, especially because, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to make those phone calls.
Yeah,
those are shitty calls.
Making back-to-back phone calls like that must be fucking awful.
Yeah, making them at all has to be awful.
True.
I don't care if you're Trump, Obama, or fucking Gandhi. I do not want to make that phone call. If it was,
I doubt Gandhi's ever made that phone call.
Yeah, I doubt he has either, but it would still suck.
Maybe on Age of Empires.
2.
God damn it. Xi Jinping, I hope I pronounced that right, to China. Any harm we inflict on nature will eventually return to haunt us.
This is submitted by Mavia to Our World News.
So, Xi Jinping, who is the president of China, is kind of jumping on the bandwagon of let's clean shit up because we need to, because there's going to be negative repercussions one way or the other.
Because you absolutely need to.
I am being told that it sounds like Xi Jinping.
Xi Jinping.
Jinping?
Jinping.
Now, this is not a direct statement of yes, climate change is real, global warming, whatever. It is mostly that China is one of the largest polluters in the world, and we are even if we're not talking about global warming, you can see the negative effects of humanity in sections of nature, whether it's the trash in the ocean, the ruination of natural environments, forests, etc., pollution in the air. You can see the pollution. You can see it. It's not.
It's a tangible thing. You
Yeah.
can touch it. You can push your fingers through it.
Yeah, you can try to say that global warming. There's not enough evidence. There's not anything to prove that that's happening. It could just be happening
absolutely wrong.
I know, but you can try to say that with some level of, legitimacy. It's like a 0.03%, but you can try to say that of like, maybe the world's just getting warmer. There's no indication that it's us. It's fucking us. But in any case,
It's definitely us.
When it comes to what we do to the environment, no, you can fucking see it. You can see it, like literally see it. So, and he is on that wagon at the very least, which is beneficial, unquestionably, because if they take the things to reduce pollution in the air and the water, it will still help things like climate change and global warming as a byproduct. So if those are the things you're worried about, this is still a positive change. China is already set up to try and reduce its entire pollution rate by 60 to 65% by 2030, so in the next 13 years. That would be a substantial amount. They want to get to more than that, although, actually getting to that point in that amount of time may be difficult. By the sounds of how everyone's talking right now, the articles we've talked about over the last several months, it looks like we'll be in a clean state by 2050. The question then becomes, in regards to global warming, is if that will be soon enough.
I hope so, because I'll tell you what, I may absolutely hate living, but I do like living on a nice planet.
Mm-hmm. If you're going to be forced to live somewhere, it might as well be somewhere decent, right?
Exactly. I want to be able to, look out the window and see something nice.
Mm-hmm. So, good on you, China.
Absolute trash.
Having the president behind this will help a lot.
Oh, definitely.
1.
It's exciting.
2 officers are fired for dragging doctor off of a United flight.
Man, United just can't catch a break.
No. This is like one of the farthest throwback follow-ups we had. This is still about the whole United thing that happened regarding that one doctor that got his face smashed in.
Oh, this is that one. Wow. Well, this was submitted by Fresh Jive to our news, but fucking wow.
Yeah, I was like, wow, really? And then I was like, nope, it's in regards to that thing that happened how many months ago? I was like, wow, they're talking about a fucking follow-up.
Well, you know what? It's a follow-up. That's important.
And to clarify, all 3 officers that were involved in that altercation are no longer employed by the security forces that are at that airport. 2 of them were fired. The other one, before the full investigation was conducted, he just resigned. He was like, you don't need to fire me or go through this entire thing. If you want to keep going, I understand, but too far. Bye. And he left. And basically what it is one, they caused a lot of damage to this guy. They broke his nose, they knocked out 2 of his teeth, and he suffered a traumatic brain injury from them removing him from the plane. And the officers are the ones responsible for that. While he was not being complacent, they were the ones that took what was a non-aggressive problem into a very physically violent one. And that's why
they hyped it up like crazy.
Right. They took it they escalated it way too far. And so, with that happening, they have been let go. Now, in regards to anything past that, anything beyond that is between them and United. The officers are not the ones that are being technically at fault here, even though they are, and that's why they've been fired. But the actual allegations are against the company, and there's not been a whole lot in response to that at this time. If we ever hear a follow-up from that, maybe. Will we talk about it? I doubt it, but maybe. Who knows?
Hey, if you guys see it, then throw it up on our subreddit and we'll talk about it.
Indeed. Send your stories to our iReddit cast. Or just, talk about the show or talk about stories that have been submitted there. In any case, hey, Nathan.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks! Look at me!
What did you care about in the last 24 hours?
Definitely the fucking robot fight.
Yeah, U.S. wins first ever giant robot battle with Japan.
Wow, spoilers.
Whatever.
Yes, they did, and it was really lame.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, the entire fight was kind of scripted, and it wasn't very good.
It was
scripted? They had 2 fights. The Karatas went against the Mark II first, and just pushed it over, and then it went against our robot that we made specifically for it called Eagle Prime, and it was a much bigger bot, and it just it locked up with it after firing a couple cannon rounds and then tried to push on it with a cannon, and then they paused, they broke the robots apart, Then they switched out their cannon arm for fucking chainsaw arm. So it was really just like a fucking exhibition for American technology, and it was kind of boring. It was kind of lame, but at the same time, it made me hopeful because it's like, hey, this is like the first annual giant robot fight. Maybe it'll be actually annual, you know?
Yeah,
that would be fucking
I don't
cool.
know. That sounds pretty weak sauce. Were they like, because like I saw just the smallest moment of it, and it looked like it was really slow.
It was. I didn't expect it to be super fast though, because we're still, it's still, technology.
Right, but it almost looked like
we're developing.
going to video games here. It looked like turn-based shit was happening.
Almost. They weren't very good at. Okay, so what happened was like I can give you the rundown. So the round starts and the fucking our big mech. So the Karatas immediately hides behind some fucking
Barrels.
And we decide to start shooting at the barrels. The first shot breaks inside of our like cannon barrel, and then we shoot again and we knock some of the barrels down. We start ripping at some of the armor, and then we push over a car and then head out towards them, and then we get in a fight, and then we lock up and it's not working, so we break apart. The Karatas then puts a Gatling gun on its arm that it's not used to punch things. We put on the chainsaw. They start the round again. They start shooting at us with the cannon, or they're like tiny twin cannons. And then fucking we destroy part of the lighting and use the lighting as like a spinning block thing. And then we encounter it again. We lock up and we just chainsaw it to pieces.
So
it was kind of lame because like the reason why it was lame is because everyone involved couldn't have signed a waiver saying, hey, we don't care about our lives.
Sure.
It had to be safe, and that is what made it lame.
And that's my question. Like, how do these cannons and Gatling guns work?
Paintballs.
Oh, it was paintballs?
Paintballs. Yeah. Paintballs and, like, beanbags.
Weird. Huh. Interesting. So how did they actually decide who won? Because we tore off the most of their armor?
Not just that, but we were the one that incapacitated the other bot. We were still able to move and stuff, and we had it latched with our arm.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right.
Mm-hmm. And we did more damage.
Thing I cared about is insurance and how goddamn fucking important that is. I mentioned at the top of the show how I managed to just magically get a optometry appointment today when we went in for Jennifer's appointment, which was, super awesome, super lucky because they are booked for the next 2 months straight. And so I walked in, was like, hey, when's your next appointment? They're like, 30 minutes. You'll want it? And I was like, yes. So we did my eye exam. My eyes have gotten a little bit worse, so I am going to be getting new glasses, which is, whatever. I'm used to it. I've worn glasses for the last 17 years. So in any case, the thing that baffled me is they're like, okay, after this and this and that and that and this and that and your insurance and your co-pays, because even, your insurance normally only cover a percentage of this or that, or they want you to pay this flat amount or whatever. And because my prescription is so bad, so you can see how thick my glasses are.
Yeah, but you can't.
I can't. But they're very thick, and they're not actually made out of glass. They're made out of polycarbonate, and that allows them to be thinner because otherwise my glasses would be fucking like an inch thick because
Massive.
I have very, very poor vision. But my insurance doesn't cover the entire amount of what these particular type of material lenses cost. So I always know that my glasses are going to cost me something, right?
Right.
So my entire cost for we also they don't have to dilate your eyes anymore depending on where you go. Which what they'd have to do is they'd have to put the drops in, wait for your eyes to dilate, and then take some pictures and stuff after they've dilated. Instead, they have this new machine that maps the back of your eye. Insurance doesn't cover it because it's new technology. If you want that, it's $40. And I'm like, fuck, you don't have to dilate my eyes and give me a headache and I have to wear goof-ass glasses for the next 6 hours. I'll give you $40. So my entire cost that the insurance didn't cover was about $240. And that's about what I expected. I mean, the pair of glasses I'm wearing with everything we did during this set 2 years ago was like $340. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I paid it. And then, they give you your full statement, including what the insurance is paying. Oh, my God.
How much is your insurance pay?
$980. My entire appointment plus my glasses if I didn't have insurance, would have been $1,200. And I'm like, oh my God, I am so glad I have insurance, and everyone needs to have insurance because fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
mm-hmm.
that
and
is
that's why
fucking
Obamacare's
ridiculous.
Good. You get insurance, guys.
Like, Jesus Lord, that because I looked at it, I was like, that's a lot of insurance payments, and I added up. Ew.
Yeah. Can you imagine having to pay that without insurance?
No, I wouldn't be able to, and I even have a decent job.
Right?
That is gross and disgusting and should not be how shit works.
Mm-hmm. And it does. It works like that, and that's that's depressing.
So yeah, that's what I cared about.
Yeah, I would care about that too. That's fucked up.
Fuck. All right. Anyway, though, after that, let's go and get out of here. Let's get out. Man, our show is just progress. Like for a while there, we almost had it down to a perfect 45 minutes, and now it's been like a perfect 52 minutes for the last 2 weeks.
I mean, it works.
Whatever, it's fine. Ish.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody, if you get value out of the show, consider showing us some value back. Patreon.com/dailyinternet. You can also find the show on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I already said that. Yeah, all those things. At iRedditCast. If you got stories that you want us to talk about, even if they weren't recent ones, put them in our subreddit, our iRedditCast, or send them to us in an email, feedback.ireddit@gmail.com. You can also give us a little bit of a boost by giving us a 5-star review on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. That is it, everybody. That is your 369th dose of the internet. I am Michael Schwan.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
And please remember, everybody,
Don't get eliminated!
have a good day, everyone.
Bye.